Welcome back. Good morning. Hope you are all well and hope you are having a fantastic day, whatever it is you are doing. And I hope it's a training day because today is a push day and we are 12 weeks out. So I'm going to show you what we do, how we are, give you an update and show you a push day with some slight adjustments. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about my programming, and I will do more of an in-depth video separately covering the changes, hows and whys, and my thought process behind training at this moment in time. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into the day. First, I wanted to talk to you about a little bit of change in routine that I have had recently. The first thing I do now when I wake up, I will come downstairs and I will do 10 minutes of walking straight away. I will very often just drink my water first and not even get the chance to use the bathroom. As normally, for me to use the bathroom, probably need about 15 minutes. So normally I would sit in the office, do a little bit of replying, then I would go in the bathroom. Now, instead, I wake up, I wash my face, I hydrate, take my sups, and then I come downstairs, get on the treadmill, 10 minutes of walking, then I use the bathroom, and then I get back to work. And I have found just doing that 10 minutes of walking just really gets me going for the day and really gets my mind on. So anything that I can do to improve my cognitive function, I will always do, because for me, it's super important to be extremely sharp. I want to make sure that I can deliver the highest quality feedback, the highest quality results to my clients. And for that to happen, mentally, I always need to be sharp. And there's certain tools that you can use to stay mentally sharp. Hydration, good night of sleep, good routine, and some morning activity certainly can help as well. Now, hope you have enjoyed some of my Dubai vlogs, guys. I very much enjoyed my time there, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of travel. I very much love my home environment, but Dubai is very different. It feels like home away from home. So, food for thought. It's very easy to travel to. People are amazing, very welcoming. So I really like the place, and it was great to spend a little bit of time with Charles as well. It was great to visit the dungeon again, see Abdullah, see Ali. So I came back home feeling very fresh, very ready to get back to work. My body weight maintained at 262 entire week with the diet break. So I hit a new low of about 259, and then weight came up a couple of pounds. We had a break away from steps, calories came up, lipolytics came down and was removed for that week, 5 days to be precise. Then when I got back to work, body fat just started plummet and body weight. So I hit a new low of 256.8 a couple of days ago. I was 257.1. And I was actually 259 this morning, which is a little bit higher, but my weight always tends to come up a little bit off the back of the rest day. And to be honest, I didn't sleep quite as well as I normally do last night. So that may have been a slight contributing factor to the weight being up a little bit. This is why we do not work off a single body weight reading. And let me tell you why. If you are still coaching or you are getting coached by someone that just takes one of your bodyweight readings per week, the discrepancy could be so high, especially bigger guys. My body weight fluctuates up and down 2-3 pounds easily. So if I was to take consideration just one bodyweight reading, my decision making would not be accurate. So always try to take your body weight daily and work off a daily average instead. And I'll show you how that looks when we get back in the office. For now, I'll finish my book, finish reading my book, And I've got a few minutes left on here to finish off before we get back to business, back to work, back to client replies. I've got a couple of lectures that I need to type up as well. And then Magda can make presentations. One being time management. I finished the lecture on caffeine use yesterday for the MK Excellence program. So guys, if you want to get involved with what we do at Team MK Coaching or the mentorship, drop us a DM. Link in bio. As always, see how we can help you become the best version that you can be. Anyway, time to get this finished off. I'll see you in the office. Okay, so I want to show you what my check-in sheets actually look like. This is what I use for myself and my clients. This is where I put my body weight. And as you can see, this was the last week in Dubai, right? So I didn't actually look sleep times because I stuck to my UK time. That was the steps. This was the final day of digging. And then the steps got pulled down on these days. I actually brought them back up from this day here, which was the travel day. So I managed to really nail down the travel days, especially with steps and food. You can take all of your food with you on the plane. It never really is an issue in any way, shape or form. You can take all the solids with you. You just cannot take any fluids. So just be mindful of that. Now, this is how my weight pretty much held entire week. We hit some new lows here, 259.5, then came back up 261. And then this week, we're already straight back down to business. Calories hasn't changed. Calories are still pretty much the same. This is my calorie setup. Exactly. I mean, the macros are what they are. The macros are a little bit different to what the plan would normally be, but this is what I have been kept in consistently, and this is what I have been losing body fat on very easily across my weeks. Still a very decent amount of food. I'm not really hungry, shall we say, and my food is still relatively high. My training is still progressing. Training's still feeling really good. I will go over some of our training in a little bit, but I want to show you this first. Now, I want to really highlight the importance of tracking your sleep here and tracking your body weight. I do honestly think your sleep does have a role in your ability to lose body fat and your ability to really be able to stay locked in and see progress. So prioritize sleep. And as you can see here, guys, even from last week, my resting heart rate dropped down to like 52s and 50s with removal of fat burners back in this week, and we are still at 56, 57 and 58. So my resting heart rate is in an incredible place. My blood pressure is always extremely low, so I don't really measure it that often because my blood pressure normally sits at like 105, 110, over 60. So blood pressure is always perfect. But I want to give you a bit of an insight onto what my diet looks like in terms of the macros and how things are looking in terms of my gathering of the data. And then I do have my check-in here, which I do fill in myself. And I do kind of put as much detail on here as needed, shall we say, just so I am able to keep everything in check and on track. So this is generally my check-in that I do fill in for both myself and Dean and Meg to look over. So this is my sheets, guys. And this is the setup that I actually use for myself and my clients and Meg. We do have a little bit of a different setup for lifestyle clients, which doesn't really require as much data. But agenda for today, guys. Client updates are pretty much all set. Still a couple of people that are yet to send over the updates for the daily check-ins. I still have Frederique, who won her pro card a couple of weeks ago, checking in daily. Her partner, Randy, he actually finished competing a couple of weeks before. He's still checking in a couple of times per week, but a lot of my guys and girls who are competing very soon, they're all pretty much checking in daily now. So check-ins are pretty much non-stop now. But that's part of the game of coaching. If you want to do it at a high level, you need to be paying attention, and I cannot stress the importance of that. There's a lot of great coaches that drop the ball, in my opinion, not because of lack of knowledge, I would say. Sometimes it can be, but most cases, I do think it's down to pardon me, not paying attention, which is a huge one. I also have a lecture to deliver for our mentorship program today. So I will show you some insight to that. And the lecture today is going to be around caffeine intake. So I'll give you a little bit of an insight to that as well, and see what we do with our mentorship. It's a busy day, but I like it. I like being just busy enough, but not to the point where I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed. And this is something that I want to really highlight for all of you guys who are looking to try and get busy. Get busy, absolutely, but do not bite off more than you can chew. That is just one way and one ticket to actually see less progress. I always only take on the work that I am comfortable with. I challenge myself and I push myself, absolutely, but I do not push myself to the point where I do not love what I do. That's priority for me, because I never started coaching and bodybuilding to make money from it. I simply wanted to be able to do it stress-free, right? That was always the goal. So for me, progress is always the priority over anything else. Anyway, on the subject of caffeine, I've got my 1 shot of espresso. So current caffeine intake is going to be, let me calculate it exactly, just to give you a bit of insight. So 60 milligrams times 4, 240 milligrams of caffeine per day. I have 60 milligrams in the morning, and then I have 180 before I train. Now, if I was to calculate the milligram per kilogram, I would take the 240 milligrams of caffeine and divide it by 119 kilograms, which, again, that's 119 divided by 240. Yeah, beautiful. So I'm taking in about 3 grams of caffeine per kilogram of body weight, something silly, which is pretty low. I do have some guidelines that I'm going to show you for caffeine intake for different uses and different purposes that I have found be extremely successful, and some things that you want to avoid necessarily with caffeine intake as well. So I'll go over that too. But for now, see, I really enjoy coffee. I don't know why, but I do. This is where I've got to like keep myself in check, because my mum actually drinks coffee all day, even pre-bed. So I need to make sure I don't end up like my mum. Love her to bits, but I don't know how she does it. She's a wild one. And I'm actually glad I take after her, because she's a complete machine. Anyway, hope you have a wonderful day. If you're having a cuppa, enjoy. That's clients updates done. And now we have got last minute left of my morning activity. So recap on what I do for my morning steps. 10 minutes at 5 kilometers per hour reading my book, and then 25 to 30 minutes on a 3.5% incline at 5 kilometers per hour. And that is my daily dues paid. A little bit more of a sweat on today, but that's completely fine. I mean, definitely no biggie. Probably need to have a bit of a wash before the gym. Yes, I'm not going to have a shower now because I don't have the time. I need to eat meal 1, get to work, take the dog out, and do a lecture, meal number 2. So it's a busy morning. I like to have a wash before training. So yeah, call me a scruff all you want. Steps done. Now time for 2 posing rounds to be done, but you're not going to get to see that, unfortunately. I'll see you at breakfast. Okay, meal number 1, 3 whole eggs, 100 grams of rice. We've got my venison here. We've got 7 grams of low-calorie sauce. We've got my dash seasoning. And then we've got 1 grams of salt on my precision scales. I still have got a little bit of sauce to add to this as well. And then I've got my blueberries and pineapple, which I split between my meal number 1. And then I have a little bit of blueberries in my pre-workout meal. And then for my pre-workout meal, I'll take a little bit of pineapple and add it into my meal 1. Now, some of the most important bits. We have got my Digest Fire Pro, 1 Ensure. We've got my full range of health subs here. And there is another Ensure here added as well. So I'm going to take that now. We've got my Omega in there. We've got my curcumin. We've got the full range of subs from Trained by JP. They are always here, ready to go. We've got my join-in for before bed here. Then we've got more Omega Pharma Pro, Magnesium, and Digest Pharma for meal number 2. And then we have got 1 Ensure here as well. From pre-workout meal, 2 Ensure, 2 Omega, 1 Magnesium, 1 Digest Pharma, and then 1 Magnesium, 1 Digest Pharma, 3 Omega for meal number 5. And then for meal number 6, we've got my Omegas and full range of subs again. So that is how my artillery is set. I will actually take this now. That goes straight down the hatch now. Then I will eat my meal and take the rest of the subs that I have. Now, I still have got a little bit of sauce to add to my meal as well, as I do weigh them. So I keep all my variables extremely consistent. So there is no variance in calories, sodium, etc. Everything is pretty much set. So we do not have to worry about any fluctuations that may be driven through just simple inaccuracy with just intake of anything that's potentially going to increase even your calories slightly, but also your sodium intake. So guys, if you are competing at a higher level, I definitely would advise keeping things as standardized as possible and keeping things consistent. And even if you are not, I would still advise some sort of consistency and standardization in your approach. Definitely helps. So be mindful of that. Now, meal number 1 is about to go down. So I'm going to eat this, watch a little bit of YouTube, and then client replies, and then take Xena out in the wood. The choice of cream of rice for today is going to be white chocolate coconut post-workout, and then we're going to have salted caramel pre-workout and water amounts. Here we go, my friends. We have got 400 mils of water in my post-workout, and then probably about 350 in my pre-workout. So there we go. No magic here, no guesswork. That's as simple as it gets. And then I've got some news on with Nathan the Asher looking absolutely tremendous. I absolutely love Nathan, and I really do hope that he gets a fair looking. Now, the routine after meal 1 is always getting pretty much my cream of rices ready. And then I normally take the pooch out for a little walk, digestion walk, and then we get back to business. Well, it's not exactly Dubai, but the greenery is absolutely stunning. This little wood definitely makes me happy. Now, a little bit on the water intake, guys. A lot of you who are potentially using cream of rice in your day, a couple of times a day, I actually include my water into my total intake that I actually add into my cream of rice, because it does count. It's still fluid and it still contributes to your hydration status. If, for example, you are a greedy one, or you just simply like cream of rice and you're having it 3 times a day, and you make cream of soup and you are adding 600 mils every time, it could be an additional 2 litres of water you are taking in. And your total water intake should always be high, right? But I think there's a fine balance between being high enough to be hydrated and then simply taking the piss and flooding yourself with water. So be mindful of that and track all of your water intake, your cups of tea, cups of coffee. It can all add up. So if you are drinking 6 litres of water, for example, on top of that having 2 Monsters, 3 cream of rices, you're probably drinking 9 litres. So if you're up all night pissing, that's probably why. Also, if you are taking in too much water, you are quite literally flushing your minerals, such as salt and magnesium. So your salt and magnesium may need to be higher if your water intake is also higher. So just be mindful of that, guys. And as always, everything in moderation. We live in a very extreme world where people struggle with doing just enough, taking just enough, eating just enough. People always want to more. People always want to do more and more. People want to eat more, people want to take more, people want to do more, or not do enough when it comes to the effort side of things. Food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to finish my walk and then get back to business. Back in the saddle, back in the office, and crack on with the day. Meal number 2 going down. That has the most and yes, I'm actually watching Sam Sulek. I'm training chest today, so I've got Sam doing chest. More so an entertainment value, which he is. I'll give him his due. And it's something to have a little bit of background noise whilst I eat. 200 chicken, 100 rice, 75 veg, 100 pineapple. And we've got 1 magnesium, 1 magnesium, 1 Digest Pharma Pro, 2 Omega, 1 Ensure. Get this down, and then time to deliver the lecture. Okay, down the hatch. Right, it's time to devour this nice and slow. Again, reminder guys, the reason why I use a small spoon is just so I don't eat super fast, as that is a really bad habit of mine. And then I'm going to do a little bit of steps, and then time to do the lecture on caffeine intake. Busier morning than normal, but I did have some stuff that I normally don't need to do, like some of the tasks for the gym that I needed to cover off the back of the meeting that we had last week. So just making sure I get on top and get in front with everything. Okay, here we go. Today's presentation on caffeine use, basically a deep dive on caffeine dosing, how to use it, when, why, what we need to consider, and as much info and breakdown on practical use, use for satiety and training performance. So very much looking forward to delivering my mentorship group. It's definitely something I very much enjoy because it keeps me mentally fresh. And if you don't use it, you lose it. So for me, doing stuff like this is essential. So time to get stuck in, guys. I'll probably get you some highlights as well, so enjoy. Anxiety and other side effects that high caffeine consumption can have. Pairing that with inability to fall to sleep is going to be a huge one, because a consideration most people do not make when it comes to caffeine use is that there is a clearance time. The higher your caffeine intake, the longer it actually takes to clear your system. So if you are taking in your caffeine around afternoon time and you try to go to sleep at 8, 9 p.m, if you are taking in a very high amount of caffeine, that caffeine is still going to be in your system. So falling to sleep will be harder, but also getting into deep sleep will be much, much harder. So today, I want to cover practical approaches when it comes to use of caffeine for training performance, cognitive function, satiety, and fat loss. That's the main purpose of why we utilize caffeine. And one of the most important ones is some of us do enjoy a brew as well. So I want to cover the guidelines when it comes to recommended dosages first and foremost. And this is actually from research. This is not something that I made up. This is backed by science, and this is some of the great science that we can actually use and rely on when it comes to caffeine and when it comes to actual practical research that's valid and has been repeated, done a number of times, and has actually been validated. So we can actually use that and have confidence that this sort of science is actually valid. So the guidelines here are going to be based off your body weight. So generally, if we have got someone that weighs 70 kilograms, the dosage is going to be different for someone that weighs 120 kilograms. So if your partner, who is a bodybuilder and he weighs almost double your body weight, is taking in a certain amount of caffeine, guess what? He can probably tolerate it much better than you can if you are at half of his body weight and half of his size. My caffeine portion for my performance training benefits is generally 90 minutes before training. So I actually have my coffee before my pre-workout meal. I will then eat my pre-workout meal, and then generally I train around 90 minutes after that. And I always feel like the caffeine I had 90 minutes prior hits its peak at that time, but also doesn't impact my pump and blood flow, as there could be some actual constriction of your blood vessels if you do have a high amount of stimulant or caffeine, which will then prevent a good solid pump. So you need to also consider when your caffeine peaks and the effect it has. And generally it's 30 to 90 minutes after you take your caffeine where you will notice the peak of it happening, especially when it comes to training performance benefits. So the timing of your caffeine is just as important as the dosing of your caffeine and how you spread your caffeine intake across the day for satiety and appetite suppression. So caffeine can definitely aid in short-term appetite control. However, this will vary person to person. I have seen clients who love coffee because it keeps them fuller and it stops them craving, right? Then I have other clients who have a cup of coffee and they are ravenous straight after. So again, caffeine can be great for appetite suppression, appetite control, yes. And how it potentially affects your appetite is it will stimulate your central nervous system. It will increase epinephrine, and it may only reduce perceived hunger. The hunger is still there, but because you are buzzing, you have more energy, you feel happier, right? You will do with caffeine, right? You will notice that it may reduce your perceived hunger. And a small tip, and something some of you may not know, did you know that Pepsi and Coca-Cola actually have caffeine in them? And each can actually has like 60 to 80 milligrams. So it's literally like pretty much a shot of espresso, right? I might be wrong on the dosage, so don't quote me. But I do know that Pepsi and Coke do have a quite high amount of caffeine for that reason. Coffee, specifically caffeine, will increase epinephrine. So it makes you feel better. So when people drink Coke and Pepsi, not only tastes good, but guess what? It gives them more energy. It makes them feel better. So people want more of it. Now, in terms of dosage, what I feel like works best, the blunt appetite is always slightly lower. It will definitely help blunt appetite for 1 to 3 hours, and generally 1 to 3 milligram per kilogram. So example of that would be 70 to 210 milligrams, which would be 1 to 2 free shots of espresso. The best use is between meals or pre-meal to reduce overall calorific intake. If someone has a decaf coffee before a meal, guess what? They are probably going to eat less. So if you do have clients that are extremely hungry after they've eaten, I often suggest having a decaf coffee or even decaf tea, a warm beverage before a meal, and it does tend to help with satiety, especially after that meal. You have to understand that caffeine is not a long-term solution for fat loss, and it's definitely a short-term band-aid at best. It will not mitigate your hunger completely. It can only help. Effects may also diminish the more frequently you use it, so hot drinks generally will promote satiety. So instead of just relying on coffee, opt for teas and decaf options to, again, prevent tolerance buildup. Now, practical use and considerations. Try and split your dosing to avoid any major crashes and avoid taking too much in at once. Anything above 250 milligrams is definitely counterproductive. So 250 milligrams is the maximum that I would run with for the benefit of the cost ratio. If you are having coffee, just normal coffee beans, right? You can actually venture a little bit higher. But if it's any derivative of caffeine, which is stronger and more powerful than coffee, anything above 250 is actually counterproductive. So if you're using any pre-workouts that are a very high stim and that have more caffeine in them, I would avoid them at all costs. Time for a little bit of recovery. And whilst I'm having some recovery time, a little bit of YouTube. These recovery boots I have had for a couple of years now, and they have had some serious use to the point where I've actually got another pair for travel. Now, on the topic of caffeine, I am just about to have my caffeine hit for the day, which is going to be my 3 shots of espresso. So like I mentioned earlier, I do have a bit of a limit on caffeine for myself, which is 4 shots of espresso, and I have that year round. I may increase to like 5 max when depths of prep are here. And on rest days, I do try to actually go caffeine free some days. And sometimes I just have 1 shot first thing in the morning before my steps. 5 grams of creatine in this as well. And job is a good one. Now I'm going to watch a lot bit of YouTube, see who's training push, and then it will be time to get my pre-workout meal down. So stay tuned, guys. For now, I'm going to chill, have a little bit of downtime before it's time to get ready for training. Pre-workout meal time. We've got 40 grams of whey isolate, 125 cream of rice, 20 grams of raisins, blueberries from meal 1, pineapple, and we have got some beef stew. So this would normally be 50 grams of pineapple, 20 grams of raisins, but I kind of split, 50 grams of pineapple, 20 grams of raisins, but I split a little bit of pineapple between meal number 1 with the blueberries. So additional added on there with 125 cream of rice. Today, no whey paste. I opted to just mix it in for a change, and I actually put it in the freezer for 30 minutes, and it's actually come out amazing texture. So we're looking forward to this. Let's do a little bit of a taste test there. It's literally like a cake, and it's perfect temperature as well because I made it like 30 minutes ago. Top tip: cut your cream of rice with 5 grams of whey in it, then add your whey inside it, mix it, cook it a little bit more, then bang it in freezer. Bellissimo. Ooh, here we go. We are almost ready to depart for the gym. We've got the full artillery of the pre-workouts. So pre-workout hasn't changed. It's still pumpage. I still have my caffeine 90 minutes pre. That's something I covered in the lecture. So the mentorship group will get all the insight on how to effectively use caffeine. And again, clients do get perks of that as well. But I cannot give all the free information away, can I? Some of it, unfortunately, has to be behind a paid wall. Now, pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition. We've got 40 grams of performance fuel, 5 grams of creatine, 5 grams of glutamine, 20 grams of pumpage, 22 grams actually. Can't miss out 2 grams with 5 grams of creatine. And then we've got 20 grams of MPS max with 1 cap of magnesium. And then hydration goes into my pre and intra. That is the artillery, and we never miss. And if you need guys from Trained by JP, always make sure you are using code Kuba10. That will definitely directly support me and the channel. Okay, we are at the gym. Time for push day. So I'm going to get stuck straight into the session, as I do have my client Vanessa over, and we will do some posing after, so you'll get to see a little bit of that as well. She's a wellness athlete, deep into off season, just started diet phase, so she is on her way down before she comes back up. This is going to be a bit of a pre-prep diet for her, so looking forward to that. Now, feeling great, energy's good, feeling focused, and very ready for the session. So game time. Let's get it. Headphones off. Headphones off. Yep. Let's go. Focus. Put yourself in hard. Pull yourself in hard. Headphones off so you can hear me. Pull yourself in hard. Yep. Core braced. Core braced. Full control. Pause and drive hard. Yes. Pause and drive hard. Good. Drive. Good. Perfect. Keep them exactly like that. Come on. Don't rush. Control. Control. And drive. Perfect. Control. 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 Take your time. Drive. That was the rep. Perfect. Make him like that. Come on. Every rep. Pause and drive. Perfect. Loads more. Come on. Good. 3 more reps at least. Let's go. 1. Good. Back in. Come on. 2. Control. Come on. Don't rush through. Come on. Let's go. Back in. Up, 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 up. 1 more rep. Brace hard. Come on. Get your core braced. Tight. Tight. Back in. And drive it hard. That's the rep. Perfect. Well done. Back. That's what I want to see. Well fucking done. Good work. Okay. Generally just take a breather and then go again. Nice. Beautiful. Don't do that. No, don't do that. I can't get my shoulders like restricted on that side. So it's super comfortable to actually get into that. So when I do that, like I have to like make a face and like perform myself into it. The problem is when you do that, just make sure it makes you look really small. I think I'd rather fucking get in the hip pose rather than be, you know what I mean? Like it's like straight again. Huh? Straight again. It's actually a lot better now. Hip up higher. That's it. Beautiful. Hold that. Good. Hit your shots. Yeah. Much more natural now when you're hitting these.
Much better.
Way better.
I'm practicing.
Good. You need to keep it up now.
I find it better here because you know there's posing rooms.
Yeah.
Back home I have to do it in the gym though.
I know.
So it's not
Let's
great.
go. Boom. relax when you push your hips back on this pose, yeah? Don't tense your glutes. I can see the tense because you like the lift up. Not a bad thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Shell, that's it, yeah. Nice. Meal number 5 going down. We've got 100 grams of wild salmon, 150 prawns, 50 rice, and 75 grams of veg. Usual business. Beautiful. Look at this. And every meal gets prepped and seared on the pan. No microwave meals around here. No good. Good morning. It's the day after tomorrow, 12 weeks out. Whilst I am capping off the video, today I want to talk to you about progress. And when you pursue bodybuilding at a high level, you quite literally have to get obsessed with progression. Progression isn't easy, even as a genetic freak. So if you are not obsessed with progress and what is required from you to make progress, you are always going to leave progress on the table, and you will never be the best version that you potentially can be, both with bodybuilding, life, business, and any other endeavors that you have going on. So if there's anything that I can really share with you today is you have to be obsessed. A lot of people that look at what we do and say it's not a healthy obsession, say you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, you should have balance. I'll be honest, these are people that just never have achieved anything in life and have never set any high enough goals. I promise you guys, the guys that have overachieved, the guys that are extremely successful, they have no fucking balance in pursuit of progression. They have no balance in pursuit of their goals. You can have balance when you are old and past it. For now, I want you to maximize your time doing anything that you are trying to achieve. And look, the degree of how much you will be able to put in will vary depending on your circumstances and your responsibilities. A lot of you watching this that have full families, you need to be all in for your family. That is your priority now. That is your life goal. That is your life mission. For me, all I have is my bodybuilding, my business, my wife. And while ever I have no other responsibilities apart from my business, I am going to be all in with my bodybuilding, my coaching, my gym, to make it all as successful as possible. So I'll leave you on that note today, guys. No changes to plan. Everything's rolling, getting a lot leaner. Everything's moving. Textbook prep so far. I will update you with a full update next week and a leg day. If you made it to the end of the video, comment progress below and we'll know who's a trooper. Also, guys, any of you looking for upper lower training programs or one-off plans, you can now purchase them on my website. Very, very detailed plans with a lot that you can take away from and use for yourselves. So guys, thank you so much for today's viewing. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Peace out for now.